So we dig into a new volume, but I think the first chapter and the highlight of it for me was really Wyper being front and center and really enjoying the character. Hey, One Piece, chapter 276, Shandian Rhythm. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and the tantalizing and the Skypean and godlike tale of One Piece. Our last chapter, of course, saw things ramping up volume-wise, and as we finished volume 29, here we are going head first into volume 30, and definitely looks to be a good one as we were left on a pretty big cliffhanger. Just about everybody had been knocked out, but really the end of it was Robin getting the shit shocked out of her and really just kind of getting shocked out of her shoes, so to speak, by of course, the god Enel. So anyway, that's where things ramp up and leave off, and that's right where we pick up over here. And really, what it is now is if you remember, Enel wound up, beating his heart back to life, basically. So the sea prism, although useful, we find out was actually in Wyper's skate-like shoe that he has, those cool like sky skate things. So when he kind of wrapped himself around Enel, obviously the sea prism negated his abilities and allowed him to use that rejectile. But realistically, he should have broken that skate off, shoved it up Enel's ass, and then slit his frickin' throat. It's a little bit brutal for the shonen manga, but ultimately that's really what should have been done to ensure that that he was taken care of. So it definitely a cool chapter. It starts out and we get the whole, it was actually very nice because it's the chapter for me that gives me some respect for Wyper and paints him in a bit of a better light. He's really just kind of standing there and he's, Enel, of course, gets up and he's just like, I warned you, warrior Wyper. I warned you this and that. And he's like, do not say my name in vain, and Wyper can hardly stand. Enel's actually pretty impressed, though, because he's like, okay, like, first of all, the sea prism idea was a pretty decent idea. Like, that hurt. That's what he says, But really what it is that, he has a little bit of respect for him now because he sees that, hey, listen, the reject dial would have killed a normal human after just one use, and you used it twice, and you're still somehow standing, right? So anyway, he winds up getting this whole, kind of just going into this whole monologue with him about, it's hopeless, and I told you, and this and that, and that's how we wind up finding out, actually, very shortly after that, we wind up finding out that the sea prism was actually in his skate or shoe-looking thing, because Enel goes and just just nails him, with his, I forget what the hell they call that thing, or that taiko or whatever. Anyway, he winds up nailing him with that, and Wyper's just, decimated, right? And then he winds up going in, and Enel goes in and pulls down and calls down, the 3 million volt something, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, a little bit of an overkill here, it seems like it anyway, because whatever he used for Gonfall, I think was like 5 or 10 million or something like that. This is even more powerful than that, so apparently he just, like, wants to wipe her out, So he winds up, nailing him. As that happens, Zoro goes, and Nami's freaking out the whole time, because Nami's just like, oh shit, I am way, way and above my head, you know what I mean? So, Zoro winds up charging at him too, and he's just like, you too, and then Zoro's like, might as well, you're gonna kill me you're gonna kill me either way, so I might as well try to come and take a stab at you, right? And he goes and sends this cool something beast kitten looking, it looks like this electrified, like, jaguar or something that just comes flying at, nails Zoro. Zoro's shocked out of his frickin' shoes. And I mean, really, they're kind of grisly looking pages, the way they're drawn and everything, too. Just the characters just look, I mean, it's death by electrocution or even being knocked out by electrocution cannot be fun. I have, like, shocked myself just a little, buzz as I've changed a light bulb a couple times in my life. And it was not a great feeling. It was not like an uplifting, empowering feeling. It was like, oh my God, so, and that was just a little bit, a few watts of electricity or whatever, this is millions of volts. But anyway, as the chapter winds up progressing and we see things move along, we then go and see Wyper actually goes and gets back up again, and he stands again. And, and Enel's just like, what is your deal? What is the point? Why do you even stand? And he's just like, for my ancestors. And now whether you love him or you hate him or you're kind of indifferent about him, you have to have some respect, though, for his tenacity, and you have to have some respect for the fact that he really does. He feels like he is carrying the light of his people, the light of Shandora. He's the ancestor of the great warrior Kalgara, and he really just, he embodies that, you know what I mean? He's just like, you may not, I don't agree with some of the way he is as far as being real brash, and I even called him ignorant at some point to others, maybe attempting to help him or whatever the case may be. That's neither here nor there at this point. You have to admire the fact that he does. He just keeps on coming, and he just, like, he stands, and it's like he's holding the weight of the world on his shoulders. And I definitely liked it. I thought it was a great symbolic thing. Then he goes into this little flashback, right? And it's a little flashback teaser, man. It's just really, it's just terrible. Because he goes in, and when he's a kid, and he's talking with maybe like an elder or his father or somebody in their little hidden village, and they're telling him about, and he's telling about, okay, and this and this and that, these are the reasons for, and this is why we do this, and this is why about Shandor. But the real reason is, the most important reason is, and then that's it. We don't get anything. We don't know what the real important reason is. What that they're trying to go and protect the poneglyph. We don't know what the real reason is for this whole, this whole thing with obviously the Shandorians or however you pronounce it. So it just kind of leaves you hanging over there, But anyway, then he goes in, and Enel's just like, all right, enough is enough, man. And he just calls down his huge rain of just evil lightning beam thing, that Thor down from the heavens, and just just shocks him where he stands, and it's like I said, it's a grisly sight. You just see picture after picture, and then you see Nami afterwards, like, freaking, man, she's flipping her shit, because now she's like, everybody else has been defeated, or everybody else is either dead or unconscious or whatever. And I mean, you see Gonfall, and he's laying there just battered and bruised, and there's the helmet's over to the side, and you see Chopper, he's been unconscious for 20 chapters now, and you see Zoro and even Robin, and it's a grisly, it just looks like a pile of bodies strewn out amongst everything. So then Nami, right? And I love Nami, ever the opportunist. She knows she's not going to beat him in any type of fight, right? She has no skills when it comes to stuff like that, and she realizes that she's dealing with somebody that is next level, that is above anybody's pay grade, and probably is just hoping desperately that Luffy or somebody else will appear to help her out. But she goes and she just says, she's like, oh, hey, so anyway, yeah, I wanted to go to your land of dreams, your dreamland, your endless Earth, if that's cool. And he's just like, ha ha ha, so be it. And he's like, some people, can be swayed by, by fear and this and that, and others can't. And she's like, oh yeah, I agree completely, So the chapter ends up shortly after that, though. It takes us back to Angel Island, and we can only assume, of course, we know Conis is on her way back there to try to warn everybody of his, his whole plan, and Enel's plan of actually just, somehow getting Skypiea to crash down into the Blue Sea. And you just see everybody running around on Angel Island, and her father, of course, has been branded as fugitives because they went against the god Enel. And then we wind up seeing, the captain of the White Berets, I believe they're called over there. And he's, if we see anybody, we'll report it, sir. So, so that's how the chapter ends. It's kind of anticlimactic, I guess you would say, but I mean, it's necessary to have that in there to kind of show that these are these enemies of the state now, so to speak, that whether people live in fear or respect or a combination of the both, they just know not to cross Enel, and they know that, these people are supposed to be bad now because we were told they were. So it's kind of just showing you the sheep and the populace, how they, how they are. So my chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is really, as far as things go, what do you think about Nami's decision? I mean, in my opinion, I think it was really the only choice she could make right now. Obviously, she's not going to go to Endless Earth, and she doesn't want to go and hang out with Enel forever and, and give him magical, shocking, lightning hand jobs or whatever. I'm sure none of that is actually going into her mind. But as far as I'm concerned, it was her only choice, and it was the smartest choice, whereas everybody else, like Zoro's like, you're going to kill me anyway, I'm going to come at you. Her whole thing is like, maybe I can try to figure out something, because, obviously what he did with Robin, that was pretty smart, you know what I mean? When you think about it, he was like, you ain't playing me, I don't like people playing me. So she knows she can't do that, so she's got to think of another means, or hold out at least until she can find somebody bigger or stronger or get away from this guy. But really, I guess that's my chapter question. What are your thoughts on Nami, and of course her choice, to temporarily go along with Enel? So leave your answer in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, nation. I said in the next one. Cut. That's it. Okay, I'm out. Ooh, boy, I like them boobies. Who doesn't like boobies? For more, go over and check out my Facebook and Instagram page.